At Dad's party, my mom said, "You're not even family." So I said one thing that changed everything. I stand outside the plush private dining suite, fingers wrapped tight around a small box that suddenly feels heavier than it should. Through the frosted glass, I can make out shapes. My family already seated, wine glasses catching the light, their laughter muted but unmistakable. My heart hammers against my ribs, loud enough that I wonder if they can hear it through the door. 8 years. 8 years of dropped plans and drained accounts. 8 years of being the one they call at midnight. The one who wires money before asking questions. The one who shows up. Tonight was supposed to be different. Tonight, I'd finally show them that all those sacrifices meant something. That I mean something. I smooth down my dress, take a breath that doesn't quite fill my lungs, and push open the door. The room goes quiet for exactly half a second before my mother's voice cuts through. "Well, look who decided to join us." Eleonora sits at the far end of the table, like a queen holding court. Her eyes already scanning me, my dress, my shoes, my hair, cataloging every flaw she'll mention later when she thinks I can't hear. My older brother Preston smirks into his wine glass, that same superior look he's perfected since childhood. Spencer glances up from his phone, his smile bright and empty as a stage light. Only my father stands. "There's my girl," Harrison says. And his warmth feels like the only real thing in the room. He opens his arms and I move toward him, clutching the gift box like it might anchor me to something solid. "Happy birthday, Dad." His hug is genuine, tight enough that for a moment I let myself believe this dinner might actually be what I hoped for. That tonight, they'll finally see me as more than their emergency contact. I hand him the wrapped box. He takes it with careful hands, his smile widening. "You didn't have to do this, sweetheart." But I did. I hunted for 3 months to find that watch. A vintage 1950s Hamilton, the kind he used to talk about when I was young, before the family finances became my problem to solve. The only empty chair is at the opposite end of the table from my mother. Isolated. I slide into it and feel the distance like a physical thing, a moat they've built without telling me. The server appears at my elbow, asking about drinks. But before I can answer, my mother's voice slices through again. She'll have the house white. Camille never could tell the difference. Something hot and sharp flares in my chest. Actually, I'll have the Cabernet. The 2018 vintage, please. Eleonora's smile doesn't reach her eyes. Must be nice to have disposable income without real responsibilities. No children to worry about. The knot in my stomach tightens, familiar as an old scar. I've been here less than 5 minutes, and already the air feels thin, hard to breathe. I force myself to smile, to change the subject, to say something about ordering appetizers. But Preston rolls his eyes, like I've committed some cardinal sin. "Of course you would, always showing off." The words land like small stones, each one precisely aimed. I think about my first bonus. 22 years old, fresh out of college, $10,000 that was supposed to be the start of my future. Then came my mother's call, her voice breaking, telling me about the foreclosure, about losing the house, about how my father was too proud to ask for help. I'd wired every cent within an hour. They'd thanked me, called me their hero, and for weeks afterward, I'd felt like maybe I finally belonged. Julian saw through it before I did. "They're using you, Cam," he'd said one night after I canceled our anniversary dinner to bail out Preston. "Again. This won't stop until you make it stop. I told him he didn't understand. That family comes first. 3 months later, he was gone. The dinner crawls forward. Spencer tells some elaborate story about his latest girlfriend, punctuating it with winks and exaggerated gestures. Preston interrupts to brag about his new investment opportunity, the one that's going to make him rich this time. Definitely, unlike all the others I've funded. They're both drinking the expensive Cabernet I ordered, the one they know I'm paying for. Preston catches my eye as he takes a long, deliberate sip, and something in his expression makes my skin crawl. When the gifts come out, Preston presents a set of generic grilling tools still in their plastic packaging, looking proud as if he'd crafted them himself. Spencer's contribution is a framed photo, just him and Dad at some baseball game I wasn't invited to. To remember our special day, Spencer says, with that practiced, innocent smile. Then my father unwraps my gift. The room goes silent. The watch gleams under the restaurant lights, its silver case catching every angle, the leather strap soft and rich with age. I spent months tracking it down and through vintage dealers, authenticating it, making sure every detail was perfect. Camille, Dad's voice breaks. This is too much. Pride surges through me, warm and bright, until I see my mother's face. Her expression hardens like concrete setting, resentment etching itself into every line. Well, Eleonora says, her voice honey-sweet and poisonous. I suppose when you don't have a husband or family of your own to support, you can afford to buy whatever you want. The table goes dead silent. Everyone's looking at their plates suddenly, fascinated by the pattern on the china. That's not fair, Mom. My voice shakes, despite my best effort to steady it. Not fair? She laughs, the sound like glass breaking. What's not fair is how you flaunt your money. You use it to make us feel small. You're trying to buy your father's love. The words hit me like a slap. I paid for his surgery, I hear myself say, the protest bursting out before I can stop it. I'm paying for this entire dinner. There it is. Eleonora's voice rises, triumphant, as if I've just proved her point. Always keeping score. You want to know the truth? You're pathetic. You're a lonely, bitter woman. And you want to know why? She leans forward, her eyes bright with something ugly. You're not even part of this family. I turn to Preston, desperate for someone, anyone, to say something, to tell her she's wrong, to acknowledge what I've done for all of them. He deliberately looks away, that smirk still playing at his lips as he sips the wine I'm paying for. And suddenly, with a clarity that feels like cold water hitting my face, I see it. All of it. This pattern will never end. The crises will keep coming. The demands will never stop. The goalposts will always move just out of reach. I'm not family. I'm their bank. And banks, I realize, with a strange calm settling over me, have the power to close accounts. I stand. My chair scrapes against the floor. Nobody moves to stop me. The walk to the payment desk feels long and short at the same time. The maitre d' catches my eye, her expression sympathetic in that professional way that suggests she's seen this kind of scene before. Is everything all right, Miss Collins? Perfect, I say, surprised by how steady my voice sounds. I'd like to make a change to the payment arrangement. I pull $200 from my wallet, sliding the bills across the polished counter to the server who's appeared beside us. Please charge my meal and Mr. Harrison Collins's meal to my card. I lower my voice. The remaining bill for 6 guests. Please deliver it directly to Mrs. Eleonora Collins. The server's eyes widen slightly, but she nods, tucking the cash away. Absolutely, Miss Collins. Anything else? Just wait until I've left to deliver the final bill. Outside, the night air hits my skin like electricity. I'm halfway to my car when my phone starts buzzing in my purse. Once, twice, 6 times in rapid succession. All from Eleonora. I stare at the screen, watching her name appear and disappear, appear and disappear. Then a text comes through. Not from my mother, but from my cousin Alicia. Did you see what they were saying about you in the family group chat? My stomach drops. What family group chat? Her response arrives with screenshots attached. The timestamp shows messages from 3 hours before dinner. Preston. Camille booked the private room at Cypress Room. Spencer. Awesome. She just got that promotion. Time to cash in. Hope she orders the good steak. My hands shake as I scroll down. Then I see it. My mother's contribution. Boys, be nice. Your sister is just trying. 3 dots after the word trying. That's all. But those 3 dots contain everything. All the dismissal, all the condescension, all the years of being tolerated instead of loved. They planned this. They choreographed every moment. The private room, the jokes, the little humiliations. My own mother orchestrated my public shaming like a play she'd been rehearsing. The voicemails start piling up. 7 by the time I pull into my parking space. I sit in my car for a long time, watching the numbers climb, before I finally press play on the first one. How dare you embarrass me like that? Eleonora's voice vibrates with rage. After everything I've done for you, you ungrateful, selfish. I delete it before she can finish. Delete the next one, and the next. Not a single apology in any of them. Just rage that I dared to push back. My apartment welcomes me with its familiar quiet. For the first time, the silence doesn't feel lonely. It feels clean. I pour a glass of wine and do something I've never done before. I block her number. The silence that follows feels enormous, like stepping into a cathedral. I open my laptop and pull up a travel website I've bookmarked for years. 10 minutes later, I've booked a flight to Italy. 10 days in Tuscany, the trip I've been postponing since college, because there was always some family emergency that needed my money more. But my mind won't let it rest. I need to see it. I need to understand exactly what I've been funding all these years. I spread my financial records across the kitchen table like evidence at a crime scene. Bank statements, transfer receipts, text messages asking for just a little help this one time. The pattern emerges in neat columns. Dates, amounts, reasons that seemed urgent at the time. $30,000 from my 401k for Dad's spinal surgery 3 years ago. The same surgery his insurance would have covered if they'd paid their premiums instead of taking that Alaskan cruise. $15,000 for back property taxes on a house I don't even live in. $10,000 loaned to Preston's business venture that he never mentioned again. Thousands more for car repairs, utility bills, textbooks for degrees. Spencer never finished. I run the calculations twice because I can't believe the number. My retirement has been set back 5 years. 5 years of my life gone. But the financial loss is nothing compared to the rest of it. The canceled dates with Julian that led to our breakup. The promotion I almost lost because I was too distracted by family drama to focus. The perpetual anxiety that came with every phone call, never knowing what crisis awaited me. That night, I write 3 things in my journal. Block her number. Start automatic retirement transfers. Book the trip. They feel like small acts, almost petty. But each one is a boundary I've never allowed myself before. The next morning, I'm sitting in Dr. Annabelle Croft's office, my hands clasped tight in my lap. I feel free, I tell her, the words strange in my mouth. So why do I feel this crushing guilt? Like I don't know who I am if I'm not fixing their problems? She studies me over her glasses. Because problem solver was a role you played. It gave you purpose, but it wasn't you. Our job now is to find out who Camille actually is. My phone lights up with a text. Julian. Heard about what happened at the restaurant. You okay? I smile but don't respond yet. I'm not ready to explain something I don't fully understand myself. That evening, my younger brother launches his counterattack. An email notification appears. Spencer Collins has tagged you in a GoFundMe campaign. The title reads, Family Betrayed by Narcissist Sister. The description paints me as a villain who abandoned her family in their time of need, complete with carefully edited details that make me sound like a monster. I report it for fraud. Within hours, it's gone. An anonymous email arrives from Spencer's personal account. You're a monster. You won't help, and now you actively sabotage us? You'll regret this. I read it twice, waiting for the familiar panic to set in. The guilt. The desperate need to make things right. It doesn't come. Instead, something inside me hardens and clarifies. His threat has the opposite effect. It solidifies my resolve. That night, I sleep without dreaming for the first time in years. No anxiety jolting me awake at 3 a.m. No checking my phone for missed emergency calls. Just peace. 2 days later, I'm scrolling through my mother's latest Facebook post. A black and white photo of her gazing wistfully out a window, captioned, The deepest wounds come from those we love most. How can an ungrateful child abandon the very family who sacrificed everything for them? #family first. The comments overflow with sympathy. Old family friends, distant relatives, even my 3rd grade teacher offering prayers and support. My stomach twists reading Mrs. Peterson's response. Sending love, Eleonora. Some children forget where they came from. The landline rings, the one number I haven't blocked. Julian's voice comes through without preamble. 3 of your mother's friends called me today. Apparently I'm dating a monster who abandoned her poor family. I'm sorry, I whisper. Don't be. I told them all where they could stick their opinions. His voice softens. How are you holding up? Before I can answer, my work line buzzes. I have to go. Work emergency. But it isn't work. It's Marianne from reception. Camille, your brother Spencer is in the lobby. He says it's a family emergency, and he'll wait all day if necessary. Ice floods my veins. Through my office's glass walls, I can see him in the distance, leaning against the reception desk. Charming smile in place as he chats up Marianne's assistant. I gather my laptop and files, hands shaking. There's a back stairwell that leads to the parking garage. I've never used it before today. That evening, a cream-colored envelope arrives in my mailbox, my mother's flowing handwriting unmistakable. I carry it inside, pour a glass of wine, and finally open it. 5 pages. 5 pages of carefully crafted contrition on monogrammed stationery. My dearest daughter, it begins. After much reflection and several sessions with my spiritual counselor, I've come to understand how my own deep-seated insecurities may have contributed to our current situation. She manages to sound remorseful without actually apologizing for anything specific. The letter winds through childhood memories, philosophical musings about mother-daughter relationships, vague references to healing our bond. Then I reach the postscript, hastily added in different ink. P.S. Your father misses you terribly, and the property tax bill is due next month. I don't tear the letter. I walk calmly to my desk, retrieve scissors, and methodically cut it into tiny, precise squares. The confetti rains into my trash can, surprisingly satisfying. The next morning, I make 3 phone calls. First, to my bank, setting up an automatic transfer of $500 monthly into my depleted retirement account. Second, to Rachel, one of the few friends who bridges both worlds. I need you to agree not to discuss my family with me, I tell her. No updates, no messages from them, no well-meaning attempts to reconcile us. Her pause speaks volumes. They've been calling everyone, haven't they? Everyone except Dad. Consider it done. Your family is now a forbidden topic. The third call is to register for pottery classes, something I've wanted to try since college, but never had time for between family emergencies. That evening, Dad's name lights up my phone. I almost don't answer. Almost. Cammy? Hi, Dad. I miss you. 3 simple words that cut deeper than my mother's 5-page letter. I miss you too, my voice breaks. But I can't come back. Not as long as you choose to stay there. We're a family, Cam. Family sticks together. Is that what happened at your birthday dinner? When Mom said those things to me, did family stick together then? The silence stretches between us. I can hear him breathing, that slight wheeze from the pneumonia 3 years ago. Another crisis I managed, another hospital bill I covered. I heard what she said, he admits finally. I should have stopped her. But you didn't. No, I didn't. The truth hangs between us, painful but necessary. I love you, Dad, but I won't be your human sacrifice anymore. After we hang up, I curl into a ball on my couch and allow myself exactly 10 minutes to cry. Then I wash my face, change clothes, and head out to meet Julian for coffee. The cafe is bright with afternoon sun streaming through large windows. Julian's already claimed a corner table, 2 mugs waiting. No romantic expectations, just the comfort of someone who knows the truth. You look better, he says, studying my face. Less hunted. I smile, realizing he's right. I feel lighter. I should have done more, Julian says suddenly. I'm sorry I left, instead of helping you see what was happening. That was the easy way out. You tried. I wasn't ready to listen. The property tax deadline comes and goes. I mark it on my calendar with a small red X, preparing for the onslaught. It arrives 3 days later, Preston's name flashing on my phone. I answer, setting him on speaker while I continue preparing dinner. They might lose the house because of you. His voice booms through my kitchen. I sprinkle salt over the chicken breast, sizzling in my pan. No, they might lose the house because they didn't pay their taxes. There's a difference. How can you be so cold, after everything they've done for you? I flip the chicken, admiring the golden crust. What exactly have they done for me, Preston? Name 3 things. His sputtering fills the silence. That's what I thought. Goodbye, Preston. I hang up, waiting for the familiar wave of guilt. It doesn't come. Instead, I open my laptop and create a spreadsheet. Date, emergency description, amount. I start with that first bonus at 22 and work forward methodically. By midnight, I've documented $73,450 in loans and gifts over 8 years. In a second spreadsheet, I mark every vacation canceled, every date postponed, every personal milestone sacrificed for their emergencies. The pattern is stark, undeniable. Not a single important moment in my life went untouched by their needs. 2 weeks later, I board a plane to Italy. The photos I take show a woman I barely recognize, smiling genuinely, shoulders relaxed, eyes clear. In one, taken at a small cafe in Florence, I'm laughing with my head thrown back, completely present in the moment. That's what freedom looks like, Dr. Croft says when I show her the pictures. The holiday season approaches. For the first time in my adult life, I decline Eleonora's formal Thanksgiving invitation. Instead, I host a small gathering in my apartment. No family drama, no walking on eggshells, no calculating the emotional cost of each interaction. Just friends, laughter, and wine that nobody's drinking to spite me. 1 year after the restaurant, I'm reviewing quarterly projections when my phone buzzes. Spencer's name appears. We need to talk. It's about Dad. My heart stutters, old patterns trying to reassert themselves. Call immediately. Drop everything. Fix it. I set the phone down and continue working for exactly 30 minutes, completing my task before responding. The cafe I choose for the meeting is deliberate. Open space, witnesses, no chance of being cornered. I arrive early, order coffee, and do something I've never done before. I open my phone's recording app and press start. The screen confirms it's running. I slip it back into my purse, microphone unobstructed. You okay? I look up to find Julian at the next table, his laptop open but his attention on me. We'd planned this. He'd arrived 15 minutes before me, settling in like just another remote worker. I'm fine, just ready to get this over with. The door chimes. Spencer walks in, dressed better than usual. Crisp, button down, pressed khakis. He's come prepared. So have I. Camille. His voice carries that careful note of controlled concern. Thank you for meeting me. I have 30 minutes. I have a conference call. Spencer's mouth twitches, annoyance quickly masked. He reaches into his messenger bag and pulls out a manila envelope, extracting several photographs. Dad looking thin and pale in his recliner. Dad at what appears to be a doctor's office. Dad asleep in a hospital bed, IV in his arm. Something cold washes through me. When were these taken? Over the last few months. He hasn't been the same since you abandoned us, Camille. The word abandoned lands like a slap. He barely eats, hardly sleeps. The doctors say his blood pressure is dangerously high. I force myself to breathe evenly, to study the photos with analytical distance. What exactly is wrong with him? His spine. Remember that surgery you helped with before? There are complications. He needs another procedure. The implication hangs in the air, unspoken but clear. This is your fault. But Dr. Croft's voice echoes in my head. Notice when they're using your father as emotional leverage. They know he's your weak spot. I'm sorry to hear he's unwell, I say carefully. Which hospital is he being treated at? Spencer blinks. County General. And his doctor's name? Dr. Wilson. The answer comes too quickly. Neurosurgeon or orthopedic specialist? Spencer's eyes narrow. What difference does it make? It makes a difference, because I'd like to speak directly with his doctor. If you give me Dr. Wilson's contact information, I can call right now. You can't just call his doctor. There are privacy laws. Dad can authorize it. Let's call him right now and ask. He's resting, Spencer says sharply. The medication makes him drowsy. I take a sip of my cooling coffee, using the moment to steady myself. Spencer's tells are obvious now. The finger tapping, the rapid blinking when he's fabricating details. I care about Dad's health, but I won't be manipulated, Spencer. His expression darkens. You sound just like that therapist of yours. Has she convinced you that your own family is manipulating you? He leans forward. What kind of daughter abandons her father when he needs her most? Mom was right about you. You've always been selfish. The words echo Eleonora's exact phrasing. In the past, I would have spiraled into defensive explanations. Not anymore. I understand that's your perspective. Spencer stares, waiting for the usual frantic justifications. When they don't come, confusion flickers across his face. Look, this isn't a debate. Either help with Dad's surgery or don't pretend to care about him. I've offered to speak directly with his doctor. I've offered to call Dad right now. If he truly needs surgery, I want medical professionals to explain it, not you. You don't trust me? Your own brother? I trust medical professionals to explain medical conditions. Fine. He throws up his hands. Call Dad. But Mom already told him you'd pay for everything. The slip hangs in the air. Spencer freezes, realizing what he's revealed. So Dad doesn't actually know you're asking me for money. Don't twist my words. Dad knows he needs surgery. Mom was just trying to spare him the stress. His voice rises. Heads turn at nearby tables. You've always had it easy, Camille. Your fancy job, your wealth, while the rest of us struggle. And now you won't even help our father? Spencer, we're in a public place. Let's keep this civil. Civil? There's nothing civil about abandoning your family. He slams his hand on the table, rattling our cups. The cafe goes quiet. A server approaches, her expression professional but firm. Sir, I need to ask you to lower your voice. This is a private matter. Not when it's disturbing other customers. Do I need to ask you to leave? Spencer looks around, suddenly aware every eye in the cafe watches him. Not with sympathy, but disapproval. Julian stands and moves to my table, saying nothing, simply positioning himself behind my chair. I pull out my phone and dial Dad's number, holding Spencer's gaze as it rings. Hello? Dad's voice sounds alert, confused. Dad, it's me, Camille. Cammy? Surprise brightens his tone. Spencer said you were too busy to talk to me these days. How are you feeling, Dad? Spencer showed me some pictures. He says you need another surgery. Surgery? Dad sounds genuinely confused. No. The doctor just changed my blood pressure medication last month. It's working well. No surgery needed. Spencer stands abruptly, face pale. I have to go. As he gathers his things, his phone screen lights up. Even upside down, I can make out Eleonora's name, followed by, "Did she agree? How much?" "Dad," I say calmly, "would it be okay if I spoke with your doctor? I'd like to understand your treatment plan." "Of course, sweetheart. Dr. Martinez. Don't know where Spencer got the name Wilson. She's excellent. I'll call her office and let them know." Spencer storms toward the door, already pressing his phone to his ear. The family that once seemed so united against me is fracturing. "Dad, there's something we need to talk about," I say, feeling something shift inside me. Over the next weeks, Dad calls occasionally, not demanding, just talking. His voice carries a new quality, lonely but not weaponized. He's started therapy. He's trying to establish boundaries with Eleonora. It's small, tentative, but it's something. The rest of them try everything. Preston's wife Beatrice calls crying about their debt, begging me to reconsider. I listen, sympathize, but hold firm. That's between you and Preston. They launch another social media campaign. Post manipulated screenshots. Send flying monkeys in the form of concerned relatives. But I've documented everything. The ledger of favors, the group chat, the attempted manipulations. Each attack feels more hollow than the last. My therapist's network becomes a scaffold around me. Friends answer calls, respect boundaries, offer ordinary support without expecting payment. When the family's drama becomes public theater, it reveals the emptiness behind their accusations. Months pass. Small resistances accumulate into a new rhythm. I take pottery classes I'd deferred, accept a promotion despite the risk of being unavailable, book vacations that aren't spent triaging other people's mistakes. I start mentoring a young colleague named Emma, who reminds me of my old pattern. When she mentions liquidating investments to bail out her brother, I connect her with resources on boundaries and emotional manipulation. Her grateful email afterward says simply, "No one's ever understood before." My father's calls shift tone. Without my automatic compliance, his loneliness becomes visible in a different, less weaponized way. We talk about his therapy, about his realizations, about his regrets. Sometimes we just talk about baseball. Spencer sends birthday texts now, generic, cautious. Preston remains distant, still unable to see me as anything but a resource that betrayed him. Eleonora remains unchanged, but her power over me has dissolved. Her manipulations are transparent now, almost comical in their predictability. Her calls hit a block and dissolve into silence. 2 years after that birthday dinner, I stand in a different kind of space, professionally fulfilled, emotionally steadier, surrounded by people who ask for my company, not my cash. I've moved into a penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows that frame the city like a painting. The view is mine. The peace is mine. The life is mine. Rowan appears from the kitchen with champagne flutes, his easy smile crinkling the corners of his eyes. We met at a conference, both professionals connecting over mutual interests, not mutual crises. He's successful, stable, my equal. He knows my history but doesn't try to fix it. He just exists beside me, adding to my life instead of draining it. "To the new partner," he says, extending a glass. The promotion still doesn't feel real sometimes. Leading the Harrington acquisition, speaking at conferences, mentoring junior analysts. This is the life I might have had all along, if I hadn't spent years funding other people's choices. My phone buzzes. Another blocked number trying to break through. I delete the voicemail without listening, add the number to my block list. The gesture takes seconds, requires no emotional energy. Your mom again? Rowan asks. Probably. I shrug. 2 years ago, each call would have triggered hours of anxiety. Now it's just a momentary interruption. We curl up on the sofa later, and I pull out my journal, the one Dr. Croft suggested I keep. I flip through pages documenting my transformation. Bank statements showing my rebuilt retirement fund, notes from therapy sessions, photos from Italy and Greece and Ireland. Trips I took alone just because I wanted to. Worth is inherent, not earned through financial support, I write. My value exists independent of utility to others. The boundaries I've built extend beyond family now. Last week, I declined a client dinner without inventing an excuse. "I'm not available that evening" was enough. The simple power of no still occasionally surprises me. Tomorrow, Julian and his partner Michael are coming for dinner. Our friendship survived my transformation, evolved into something healthier. He never once said, "I told you so." Instead, he became part of the chosen family that replaced my biological one. My mentee Emma sends updates about her progress setting boundaries with her own family. She's seeing a therapist now, rebuilding her savings, learning that love shouldn't require financial sacrifice. I keep Dr. Croft's graduation gift on my bookshelf. A small brass compass engraved with "Find your own true north." It's become my touchstone, a reminder that direction is a choice, not an obligation. Sometimes old guilt whispers. When it does, I pull out that spreadsheet, $73,450 over 8 years, and remember why I chose this piece. The guilt fades faster each time. I've started writing down rules for the life I'm building. No unpaid emotional labor masquerading as family duty. Financial boundaries that are sacred. Friendships that ask for presence, not payment. Relationships where my value isn't measured by what I can cover. My father calls on a random Tuesday. We talk for an hour about nothing important. His garden, my work project, a documentary he watched. Before we hang up, he says something he's never said before. "I'm proud of you, Cammy. Not for what you've given, but for who you are." I cry after that call, but they're different tears. Relief, maybe, or grief for all the years we could have had this, without the weight of financial obligation crushing everything beneath it. Spencer still sends occasional texts. Preston remains mostly silent. Eleonora continues posting cryptic Facebook updates about betrayal and narcissism. But her audience has shrunk. People are starting to see through the performance. And even if they don't, I no longer need their validation. The victory is quieter than I expected. There's no dramatic showdown, no moment where they finally apologize and acknowledge everything. Just a steady accumulation of ordinary days where I make decisions based on what I want, not what they need. I stand on my balcony as the city lights flicker to life below. Rowan beside me, champagne in hand. The evening air is cool, clean, full of possibility. Tomorrow, I'll mentor Emma, lead a strategy meeting, maybe take that cooking class I've been eyeing. Normal things, small things, things that belong to me. My phone stays silent. The peace I've built holding firm like a foundation I can finally trust. "To us," Rowan says, raising his glass. "To us," I echo. And the words feel right. Not family obligations or forced loyalty, but choice. Us, the people I've chosen, the life I've claimed. Months accumulate into years. The Tuscany photos on my wall are joined by new ones. Greece, Ireland, Japan. Places I visited not to escape, but to explore. Emma gets promoted. Julian gets engaged. Rachel hosts game nights where nobody mentions the family I left behind. My retirement account climbs back toward where it should have been. My career trajectory steepens with the focus I can finally give it. My apartment fills with pottery from those classes, misshapen bowls and lopsided vases that make me laugh because they're mine, created for no reason except joy. I write the final rule in my journal. Choosing myself was the bravest thing I ever did. Sometimes at night, I still think about that dinner. The moment my mother called me pathetic, the moment I saw their group chat, the moment I realized I was their ATM instead of their daughter. But the pain has transformed into something else now. Gratitude, strange as it sounds. Gratitude for the clarity, for the breaking point that forced me to rebuild. The compass on my shelf catches the light. True north isn't where your family tells you to go. It's where your own integrity leads you. Even when the path feels lonely, even when they call it betrayal, even when guilt whispers that you're selfish for saving yourself. I sit down to dinner with Rowan, Julian, Michael, Rachel, Emma, and Emma's new girlfriend. 7 of us around a table, laughing about something ridiculous, passing dishes family style, nobody keeping score. This is family too. The kind you build instead of being born into, the kind that grows from mutual respect instead of mutual obligation. My phone stays dark, silent. The blocks hold firm. And for the first time in my adult life, the silence doesn't feel like abandonment. It feels like freedom. And I am finally, completely, gloriously free to choose my own direction, measured not by what I can give, but by who I choose to be. The city sparkles below like a constellation of possibilities. And tomorrow, and all the tomorrows after that, belong entirely to me.